Hey everybody, Michael Nelson here. I'm the founder and CEO of the Cogent Consulting Group, and on today's webinar, I'm going to talk to you about 2 steps to fill your business with clients, which is from my Small Business Bootcamp webinar series. The Small Business Bootcamp is one of the offerings that we have to help small business owners go through the process of recapturing time into their lives while they fill their practice with their ideal clients. And periodically we take some of the topics that we find people are really struggling with and turn them into little webinars as well to give people a taste. So in this one, 2 steps to fill your business with clients. So what's the challenge? Why is this a problem? Why bother talking about it? And so what I'll do is I'll talk about several of the challenges that I find that are typical with entrepreneurs, small business owners. The first is that feast and famine cycle. You're up here, you've got business, you're making money, you've got your happy face on, you're doing the work ends, and all of a sudden you're down here, and there is no more money, and there's a mad scramble to get back up here. And this comes from doing the work, and you do the work great, but you don't do anything else. So you're not keeping your business alive, you're not working on marketing and sales, or you're not paying it the attention it should, so that your business can stay up here or even on a path that's up, but instead you're constantly going up and down, you're stressing out, maybe you're overworked because you capture too much then. Another common problem is people set up plans, right? There's money, there's the time element. Maybe this is 12 months down the road, you have a revenue target out here. And so your revenue would look like that. But maybe it ends up looking like this. So you wanted to be here, you find yourself here, there's this gap here. This can be a big problem because maybe you hired people to make this. Maybe you invested in a new location, new equipment, etc., because you were going to be here, but you didn't actually make it. And so you've got this huge gap, and maybe that's very troublesome too. Another problem is, and this goes with that feast and famine cycle and somewhat with this, is there's that common joke out there that small business owners and entrepreneurs can work whatever hours they want. They can pick any 90 hours of the week and work. Because one of the things that leads to this is, here's your entrepreneur and they're doing something over here. And maybe they're doing this too. Maybe they heard about this and I'm going to try this. That's not working so well. I'm going to go over here. And it's that ready, fire, aim aspect that a lot of entrepreneurs have. And instead, maybe your goals are up here in this direction. And because you haven't taken the time to plot things out, to understand things truly through and through, you look like this, when instead, what your path ideally would be like is something like this, where everything's leading you closer to that goal. And things that are out here, you get rid of. Maybe there's some other thing out here and it's not working, but you can bend it in and figure out how to make it better. Here's some of the challenges that exist with how to get your business stocked full with clients that keep coming back, where you've got a steady pipeline and the people that are with you stay. So let's look on at the next slide. But it doesn't have to be like this, right? Obviously, there's a lot of people that are successful, and it's a matter of bringing some big business elements and scaling them to small businesses. So I spent a lot of my career working with bigger businesses, large government, military, corporations, etc. And at the same time, I've been a lifelong entrepreneur. And so what I've found is that there's a number of big businesses, processes that you can scale. So what's a process? Nothing more than a flow. I do this, then I come to this point. Is it pink? Is it blue? I pick the path that it matches. I go on. Maybe there's another step, and then it ends. Big businesses do that well. They've got processes, and we can bring that into a small business. Targets, goals. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Is it measurable? That's another good thing that big businesses typically do. Whether they do it well or not is a different story. Is they'll measure things where you can look at it. Is it working? Is it not working? Are we making more money? Are we making less money? What do we need to change? What do we need to do? And the other thing that I think that big businesses have, just because of their size, here, this is a light bulb, are ideas. They have knowledge. They've got different people, different backgrounds. They've got a host of different educations inside that one organization, so they have ideas. But these are things that we can bring into a small business. We just need to think about it. We need to scale it. We need to make sure it's efficient and practical. And by bringing some of these things together, when I talk a little bit down the road here, you'll see how copying some of the big business elements and bringing them into a small business doesn't sacrifice any of the small business entrepreneurial spirit, etc., but it gives you an edge that you otherwise might not have. So looking down here then, there's a two-step solution. And it seems obvious, I guess, when I talk about it, but I think it's worth pointing out. And it's marketing and sales. A lot of people will market, and then when people come in to buy, they don't know what to say if that person says no, or they'll try and sell everyone before they've marketed and they'll say no. These things flow together as a process. They have to be well considered. They can't be independent of each other. They need to be congruent on message, etc. And so what do? Well, they are designed to take people from strangers, just nothing more than someone who hasn't met your business yet, to prospect. A prospect is someone who knows your business, has maybe sniffed around a little bit, looked at your website, browsed through your store, seen you in the ads. And at some point, if your sales is working, that prospect might become a customer, and then you move to your ideal, which is repeat customers. And there's a process we can set up for this so that you're not doing it randomly, so it's not happening independently. So all of your marketing and sales efforts are flowing together and working together to move you towards your goals. So let's dive right in. Marketing. So when we talk about marketing, what's that mean? You know, everyone uses marketing, but it's one of those words that I think a few people understand, but not as many. And marketing is nothing more than taking a stranger and moving them to be a customer. And so what is it? It's all of your messaging that takes you from knowing and being able to tell who and what you are, what your business is, and that talks about who you serve, what you do for them, why are you doing this, and all of that flows into things like your tagline, any speaking that you do. And I'm not talking about speaking in front of groups. I'm talking about your networking speaking. What do you say when people ask you about your business? You can't have a 30-second elevator speech that you've memorized. I'm talking about speaking so that you can bring all of these aspects in to each situation and do them well. And they also then, influence your copy. And copy is nothing more than the words you use in your marketing. Marketing is communicating to these strangers, making them aware of who you are, to make them a prospect. That's where your marketing is coming in. The whole process is here. Marketing gets you to the prospect. And so you have the different channels that you're going to communicate in, right? This is, that kind of dates me, doesn't it? Television with rabbit ears. So you might have video, you might have radio, again, dating myself. You might have newspapers. Fortunately, we still have those, right? So you might advertise in print. I talked about speaking. What are you saying in conversation? How are you presenting your business? And then the latest and greatest, the internet. What's your website look like? What's your marketing on the web? What do you have, a blog? Do you have a newsletter? How are you getting this information to these people, your strangers, in order to make them prospects? How are you going to start engaging with them? That's what marketing is. And I'm going to move on to sales. And so when we talk about sales, what are we talking about here? Well, sales takes those prospects and makes them customers. It's that process, that part of the process. And again, it's all about communication. And what we have here is now they've heard about you. They're a prospect. They know about your business. They're maybe interested. They want to learn more. They're not ready to buy. So what can you do? Well, how did they come in touch with you? Was it through an offer that you made, a coupon? Was it a newsletter that was passed on to them? Did they come to a webinar? Etc. All of these contacts that you've had with your prospects should be congruent, should be on message, where we talked about before, that are built on the messages that your company has. And then you want to follow up. This is your kind of initial contact, and you want that communication to keep going. Typically, to keep going, you need to offer something in exchange for an email address, a phone, whether it's a raffle ticket where you're collecting information. Maybe you have an opt-in form where you're asking for emails in return for a special report, etc. But then you need to keep working with them. And what are you doing? You're building trust, right? You're showing them that you can string a sentence together. You've got some expertise and subject knowledge and past successes in this area. You're letting them see how the things that you say and the things that you've done might apply to them and help them solve their problems. There's another, a bit more dated, I guess, marketing concept of touches, right? And you'll hear all sorts of numbers, but they'll generally fall between 8 and 12. A touch is how many times that prospect comes in contact with a message from your company. Usually here we're down into the sales process when you're getting these touches. So, you might be sending them, let's say in that first week, if you get an email address, you might send them 3 to 5 messages. Hey, did you know this? Maybe you're a chiropractor and you've got someone into a sports injury and you put them in your database. Well, maybe the 3 to 5 messages that get sent to that person are on typical sports injuries and how to prevent them and how to take care of them if they do happen. And you end that cycle then with an offer that's applicable to them. Some people will buy then, some people won't, and then you have another communication sequence set up, less frequent, but still engaging with them so that maybe when it's the right time for them to engage with you, they'll come back to you. But notice again, this isn't something that can be done randomly. This has to be planned out. It has to follow your marketing. The messaging has to be the same. You can't do this on a big scale. So right here, look, we're talking 8 to 10, 12 touches. Can you imagine making 8 to 12 phone calls, emails, etc., maybe in a month to each prospect? So what if you had 1,000 prospects that you were able to get and you started working on them? Could you really do 8 to 12,000 manually? No. So what do you want to do? Automate. And that goes back to the processes. You can't automate until you have a process, right? So you can use software, you can use tools, but you'll have to figure out what's the flow. When do I enter people into different parts of the process? How do I monitor? How do I measure? How is it taking me towards my goals? You don't want to buy so many tools that you're overloading people and blowing your budget, so it all has to be well thought out and correct. So, when we talk about how does sales and marketing work together? Well, again, let's go back to that continuum, right? Where we had stranger, prospect, moving to customer, and your repeats, right? So marketing has this half, and sales is over here. Now there's, this isn't quite so clean because these people are going to keep hearing marketing messages probably, but really when they engage with you and they start moving through these different stages, this is where you're going to aim specific efforts at them. So they're not exclusive, of course, but it's what you're going to try and do, how you're going to communicate with them, how you're going to build that trust, that credibility, so that when you make that offer and it hits them at the appropriate time, they're going to become a customer. Okay, so you see how these work together? They're all about communication. This is where you're communicating more out in the public. So it's your messaging that can be read by anyone typically. Here, you're customizing. So here I'm talking about people that work with us, and over here I'm saying, hi John, I understand that you may have a challenge like this, and we have something along those lines that you might want to think about. Or you might say, hey John, people that have this challenge have, typically found that the following works really well, and you provide them with an article because maybe it's not something you do, but it might be of help to them. So you're providing that knowledge, you're building that trust, the relationship. So I hope this was helpful for you to wrap your mind around how you can start to build your clients so that they're continuously flowing into your business, filling your business predictably so that you can measure, so that you can see where you are, so that you know how to budget, so you know how to spend your time. Again, real high level overview, but I think if you don't have this knowledge, this put together, then you're really not going to be able to dive down into the details and be effective. So anyway, I hope that was of help to you. To wrap it up, again, the Small Business Bootcamp series is about typical challenges small business owners are facing. And one of the things I like to do at the end of each is offer a free solution session. And so what is that? Well, this is a free 60-minute session with me. And I've worked with everyone from solopreneurs, say a small one-person business, to the White House. I've worked for the executive office of the president as a strategy consultant, helping them with some contingency work. I've worked on the big business side for 20 plus years. I've worked directly for the owners of billion-dollar companies and the people that run them. I've worked for government agencies. I was on the staff of the Commandant of the Marine Corps. So I get big business and how they look at things and what the best of the breed is for them. But at the same time, I've always had a small business over the past 20 years, on and off. And so I understand the small business side of things and the challenges that face small businesses and how some of the big business solutions can be brought in and scaled for small businesses and work to great effect. So what do you get in this solution session? Like I said, 60-minute session, you and me on the phone. Well, first, we'll work together to identify your most pressing problem. What is keeping you up at night? What's keeping you from reaching your goals? Then we'll take a look at the obstacles. What's in the way? What can we define specifically that's prevented you from reaching your goals? What's been that problem? Let's define it a little bit. And then we'll together develop some action steps customized for you and your business, because we're talking about your problem, ways that you can solve that problem, start moving towards your goals now. And so I love to do this at the end of these sessions. I think there's a great dialogue coming out of these webinars into these sessions too. So it's a lot of fun for me to try and give a little bit that way. So act now to get your free session. Here's 3 different ways to sign up on the bottom of your screen. You can sign up at one of my websites, cogentsmallbusinesscoach.com. You go there, and right off the bat, you'll see a page to sign up. Just fill in your name and your email, and it'll send me a note, and we'll start communicating about when to set it up. You can also send me an email directly, michael@thecogentcoach.com, and we can start that dialogue then about when we can set it up. Or you can call and request. Here's my phone number, 877-242-4812. Should you get my voicemail, just leave me a quick message with your name, your business name. Let me know that you're calling for a free solution session that you heard about in the Small Business Bootcamp, and I'll get right back to you and we'll schedule a session for you then. So I've really enjoyed being with you today. I hope you found this valuable. You can find more on my website or on my blog, which you can access through my website. And my main website is http://thecogentcoach.com. Come on over. There's lots of resources, articles, etc. So if you've got a problem, chances are you might be able to find an article about a solution or how other people have gone about solving it. So I've had, like I said, an enjoyable time being with you today, and best of luck to you and your business success.